There are certain areas of the plant that's extremely crowded where you have a lot of like almost too much action, and this is an example where there's just really crowded and the fruit would have trouble. So in that case I would remove that one just to make it a little bit more spacious. The general rule is you want to have about a hand distance apart between these different shoots, and if you have more shoots coming up here than a hand distance apart, then you might want to remove them. So I'm going to remove this just because there's one right here, and that's fine. Okay, and I'll remove this. Sometimes if you have to decide which of these to remove, it's the ones that are typically are growing down are the ones that you want to get rid of. You want the plants to grow upward between these wires and pull themselves up.
So rule of thumb, on each cordon, you want the shoots approximately a hand apart from each other. And if it's too overcrowded, snip off some of them.
That's right.
And when you have to decide between which of the shoots to go, take a look at their general health, and then also decide if they're pointing downward, they would be a candidate to be taken off.
Right. And here's an example right here in the center where there are two that are very close to each other. This one here and this one here. And I'm going to remove one of the two just because I only need one in this immediate area. Okay. So this plant is pretty well pruned up.
Ready for spring.
Ready to go. Okay, we have a couple of exceptions in terms of just pruning the grapevines at a particular height that I wanted to cover. First of all, sometimes parts of the plant, or the whole plant, will die off over the winter. It's called winter kill. When this happens, we'll need to remove the dead part of the plant. Now, the way you can tell if a plant is dead or part of it is dead is after you prune the plant, you'll see, after the cut, that the inside of the plant is green, and you can see also the color is kind of a lighter color than, let's say, the trunks or other parts. But you see that where the cut was made, that is green right there. Now let's contrast that to this arm right here, which didn't look like, it's all brown. There aren't any lighter colors. It's all looks kind of sick. So you start at the end, and we'll do a cut and see if we can see green. And in fact, it's not green, it's brown. And we can cut a little bit further down and maybe there's green here. And it looks like it may be green. So we're going to leave that. In the case you don't see any green, you'll keep cutting and eventually
We're live.
Here we have another exception that I wanted to cover, and that's where the arm from the previous year wasn't really very long. It didn't cover half the distance between here and the next plant. So in this case, what I've done is I've left this shoot that would normally stick up, and you would cut it off here at the wire, and I'm going to lay that down on this wire right here, and we're going to tie this so that this in fact becomes the cordon arm going forward. And here is where you see these buds on the plant. There's a bud there where my glove is pointing there with the pruners. There's a bud there. There's another bud right there. These are where we were going to get clusters of grapes this year. Okay, this is kind of an important point. If you cut off part of the plant like here, this will not produce grapes this year because it's been cut off. So if you leave this where you see the bud, then we'll get a grape cluster right there. A shoot will grow out of that. The shoot will grow up into these wires, and here you can see from previous I want to show you this particular plant, which is a little exception, and that is this plant does not have an arm on the lower wire. This is what we're trying to fill in for sure, is the lower wire. So we take a look at the plant, and we can see off of the base of the plant there are multiple shoots that are coming up. And in this case we have this shoot here, which is going up higher and up to the top wire, and it's an excellent candidate to come down on the lower wire and to be placed as the lower fruiting cane. So what we're going to do is remove this other piece out of the way here, and we're going to take this wire, bring it up, and we can now wrap it twice, once, twice, and we would go ahead and tie this off, okay, and this would be our fruiting wire. So this is how we would fill in this bottom wire.
What would you do with the other two smaller new shoots that are coming off the bottom?
The other two smaller shoots, what we're going to do is these are going to be removed. So we already have an arm here, an arm here. Don't worry about this top arm, generally speaking. And we will remove these two down here to the base, like that. Up here, what we want to do is talk about this one here.
Look how pretty they look after they've been pruned.
They're beautiful.
Which one? This little one?
This one, little one here.
Exception number 3.
This is a newer replacement plant. You can see it's much smaller than these larger plants. If the shoot is not up to the wire, don't prune it. Just leave it alone. Okay, we only want to prune the plants